I'm André Leon Talley, a friend of Tamron Hall, friend of the show, a longtime friend, and I've been in the fashion trenches for almost 50 years. Oh, well, it's wonderful. My first job was with Andy Warhol at Interview magazine in January of 1975, and I stayed there until August of 1975. And I went to the next level and got my first big paying job of $22,000 a year at Women's Wear Daily. Well, my first interaction with Anna Wintour was before I got to Vogue. She was a girl about town, the it girl. She had been at Harper's Bazaar, and then she was creative director at New York Magazine. I used to see her at parties with Mr. Warhol. I'd go out with Andy Warhol to parties, and there would be Anna Wintour in the corner, and Andy would say, go over and say hello to her. I said, oh, she doesn't know who I am. And so I didn't really become a friend of hers until I got to Vogue in 1983. And I went for an interview with then the great Smith Bella, who was editor-in-chief, and I walked down the hall, and Anna didn't even say hello to me, but I took the subway home. I went 2 stops on the subway to my apartment on Union Square, and there was a handwritten note under the door that had already been delivered before I took the subway. She had written a note. Thank you, welcome to Vogue. Wonderful. We met at Naomi Campbell's party, and we were very shy, and we smiled, and she took a picture, and then I emailed her, and I said, let's have lunch. It took us a long time to get to lunch, but when we finally got to lunch, it was a small luncheon of Quiet Bistro on 56th Street, and it was right after Prince had passed away, and she was kind of upset about that. And she just spilled out her heart, and she's a great, great friend and a woman of substance and style, and we've been friends ever since. I think she's a very strong spiritual woman, very confident, and she's obviously a legend to many, many women of color as well as women of many diverse ethnicities. Going to church on Sunday was when I first realized that fashion was a parade, that fashion was glamorous, and that fashion had style. And I first saw fashion in the relatives in my family, my grandmother, her aunts, her sisters and her aunts, and her nieces, and they all had great hats and great clothes and gloves and shoes and bags. So I was drawn to that as a child. That was my first real experience with fashion, when I took notice of the church ladies. My first runway show would be probably with a designer that you would not even know. He's long deceased, his name is Chester Weinberg. And I don't know how I got in that show, but it was a runway show. Then shows were very small. It was on 7th Avenue in a showroom. And you could literally, the clothes were right on you, right on your knees. And that was my first experience with the show. I was not on the front row, I was standing up on row 3 or something. And it was awesome to be in a fashion show. I loved it. That was my first fashion show in New York City.